Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one from AITAH is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Telling Her to Stop Spending $45 on Burgers Weekly? My male 42 sister-in-law 33 recently started selling burgers on Saturdays. She works a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday office job with a good salary, but she recently discovered she's pregnant with her ex's baby. He is no longer in the picture, so she is selling burgers for extra income. Now, every Saturday, my wife, 40, buys burgers for our family, 3 kids, 12, 10, and 8. My issue is that sister-in-law sells every burger for $9, so 5 burgers is $45. The burgers are tasty, don't get me wrong, but she is using my mother-in-law's recipe that my wife also knows, so I don't see why we would spend $45 weekly on burgers when my wife can make identical ones at home, and we would spend less money on ingredients. To be clear, technically, we can afford sister-in-law's burgers comfortably. I just don't see why we should when there are cheaper options. I tried to talk to my wife about it, and she said she mostly buys because she wants to support her sister. Duh. Jabroni, seriously tell me this guy can't see that it's not about the burger? It's not about the burger, Jabroni. I told her it's not our job to support her sister. Besides, as I said, these burgers are tasty, and every weekend they are sold out in a couple of hours, so I don't think losing our 5 burgers would put a dent in her business. Yesterday, I told my wife again we shouldn't buy burgers, and she asked me why I cared if she was buying them from her money, not our money. Red flag for you, OP. We each have an account and one joint account. Whoa. She's spending her private money on this, her separate, like her fun money on this? It's getting worse for you, OP. Let's see where this goes. I told her it's not about that. I just think it's sensible. I just don't think it's sensible to spend $45 every weekend on burgers when she already knows the recipe. She said she will be spending $36 then because she won't be buying mine anymore if it bothered me so much. I mean, what did you think was going to happen here? That's exactly what she did. She bought burgers for our kids and her and didn't buy one for me, which, okay. Anyway, I got a Big Mac for cheaper. So I thought we were okay, but she has been acting as if she is mad at me since yesterday. I fail to see why she's mad. Am I the astronaut? Candy Thunder's notes here. Candy Thunder left us some notes. Thank goodness. She says, it's not about the burgers. She actually put facepalm in there. She's doing this to support her sister. You can afford $45 a week for burgers. The burgers are tasty and you are supporting family. What is the damn problem? Oh, and it's not even from your account. You're literally bitching about your wife spending her own money. Side note, I love your wife for saying I won't spend 45. I'll spend 36. Chef's kiss. So yes, in addition to this guy, ladies and gentlemen, this guy, even if it was from the joint account, it's like I'm getting dinner while supporting my sister. And I'm not sending her like thousands of dollars. I'm not just giving her money. I'm supporting her working for it. Working to be responsible to earn extra money for the baby she's about to have and fly solo with because it's her ex's baby. But it gets worse for you, OP, because this is her private money. You have his, hers, and ours funds. So you don't get a vote on what she does with her money unless she's buying something that is harmful to you or her or the children. The reality of this is that you were getting a free damn burger because she was using her fun money to feed you. And you bitching only cost yourself a burger. And you said, okay, I went and got a McDonald's friggin' Big Mac for cheaper. And you know what? I bet it tasted cheaper too. Ladies and gentlemen, we now know the ingredients of unnecessary petty. And it is Thousand Island dressing. It is Big Mac sauce. And 2024 quality McDonald's, not 1985, not 1992, 2024 quality McDonald's. That is what unnecessary petty tastes like. That is the special sauce. The secret ingredient in the Big Mac sauce is indeed misplaced pettiness. She was buying you guys dinner with her money, bottom line. And you're like, you're doing it wrong. You're wasting it. You're doing it wrong. Okay, what if she said, I see you spending a lot of money going golfing. I know it's your money, but you could go to the golf simulator and it would be a lot cheaper, You go to Top Golf or if you're coming through the Joplin area, you go to Tea Time and golf there, and it would be cheaper. I wonder how he'd feel about it then. How would you feel? Yeah, golf in the backyard, dude. Putt on the carpet. It's all good. It's cheaper. Jabroni. He gets the brozo. He gets the brozo for sure. So the question, am I the astronaut for telling her to stop spending $45 on burgers weekly? You definitely are. How big an asshole are you? We're not talking like diameter here. We're talking severity. Severity. It's at least a 2. It definitely shouldn't have done that. Ask on 1 is you're a terrible shite human. And are we there? Are we at Ask on 1? It's potentially Ask on 1 because he's overstepping these bounds that were a clear boundary. That's why they have his, hers, and their money. She was using it to feed the family and support her sister. And he's also, by doing this, saying she's not worthy of our support. I'm sorry. She's not worthy of your support. I forgot, it's not my money. It's only yours. She's not worthy of your support. You should stop. You should stop. Yeah. I'm doing it. Going there. I'm going there all the way to AskCon 1. And I'm going there because there are multiple layers to this shit cake. It is, first, trying to control her money that he has no say in, and she's using it to buy him a burger. 2, essentially saying that her sister is not worthy of her support, even though it's costing him nothing. Like, okay, you went from a controlling DB to just a heartless dick controlling DB. I'm bumping you up to 1. So yeah, this is pretty severe. I would definitely think you walk this one back. Also, double brozo award here for being like, so I got myself a Big Mac and then I thought we were okay. You have 3 kids. You're 42. You should know how marriage works by now. You getting yourself in the doghouse, her not getting your burger, and you getting a freaking Big Mac does not mean that's not an olive branch. Like, what peace do you think exists here? This battle has only just begun. It's only just begun. Hello there again, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one from AITAH is titled, Am I the Astronaut for telling my husband he shouldn't be upset when my daughter said that her uncle would be the one to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day? I, female 46, got pregnant with my daughter, Sarah, female 26, when I was in college. My parents and my then boyfriend's parents pushed us to marry, which we did. My late husband unfortunately passed away a week after our daughter's 2nd birthday because of a heart complication that we did not even know he had. Holy shit. It was a very hard time for me, and I went through a very bad depression. 4 years later, I met my now husband, Robert, male 46, on a blind date set up by a friend. He was one of my best friend's cousins. We hit it off and got married a year later. Even when we were dating, he was very hands-on with my daughter and did not take too long for my daughter to call him Papa. Even until we got married, when I got pregnant 2 years into the marriage and gave birth to twins, male 17 and female 17, he still acted like a father to Sarah. She was even included in my husband's family reunions. And the cousin group photo shoot that my in-laws organize every Christmas. Things took a bit of a turn when Sarah turned 18. She started calling him by his first name, and both Robert and I were taken aback with the change of attitude that she was displaying. I asked Robert what that was about, but he only shrugged, not knowing the reason too. I thought things would go back to normal, but she has been consistent in calling him by his first name, so I asked her if we could talk. Robert asked if he could join, which Sarah agreed. To make it short, my daughter overheard my husband talking about a Father's Day trip to his friend, who owns a hostel. His friend asked him if he forgot to include Sarah since my husband only asked him to prepare 3 bedrooms. My husband replied that he planned this trip for his real children only. Well, you said what you said. It wouldn't make sense if Sarah was in the trip since he wasn't her real father. You dumbass. This made Sarah feel betrayed and hurt because she saw him as her real dad, even if she knew he was her stepdad. Yes. My husband tried to explain to her that though he loves her as a father, his love for the twins was different since they're his real children. I wanted to just shut him up because he was overusing the word real. You think once was too many times, dude. But Sarah told us to leave her room. What made the day even more depressing was that this day was her last week with us before she leaves the country for college. Since then, every time she comes home, Sarah acts like nothing happened but continues to call Robert by his first name. Robert didn't want to add fuel to the fire and just tolerated it. And now, few years since then, my daughter announced her engagement to her longtime boyfriend. We were very happy for her as they've been dating since they were still college freshmen. 2 weeks before their wedding, we were wondering who would be walking Sarah down the aisle. I assumed it would be Robert since I thought we've moved past that incident, but no. My daughter scoffed at me when I told her about Robert walking her down the aisle. She said, I thought it was obvious that Uncle Greg, my late husband's brother, would be the one to do that. Besides, I'm not his real daughter. It wouldn't make sense if he walked me down the aisle. I did not talk back. Instead, I apologized for my ignorance and told her that I'll speak with Robert about it since he also assumed he'd be the one to walk her down the aisle. When I told him what Sarah said, he was pissed, but I politely reminded him of the incident years ago, which made him even more upset. He said it was a long time ago and that Sarah should just move on. Not him using the defense I was trying to prepare for him about being told how to feel. But using this as a weapon against his stepdaughter, we have to say that now because he already said she's not his real kid. I was offended for my daughter and told him that he shouldn't be upset since he doesn't see her as his real child anyway. He then got teary-eyed and told me not to speak to him. He still attended Sarah's wedding but looked visibly down. We still aren't on good terms and have been pretending in front of relatives. My daughter does not know about this and I want to keep it that way. But nevertheless, it's been a week since my daughter's wedding and Robert is still upset. He only talks to me about the twins and household stuff, but beyond that, he keeps everything to himself. I feel really bad and think he is acting this way because of me, so with that being said, am I the astronaut? We have a top comment here. Let's read the top comment and then I'll delicately express my opinion to Robert. Top comment, Robert brought this on himself. He acted as her father from the time that she was 2 years old, so he is the only father she has ever been aware of, yet he called her not his real child and was careless and cruel enough to do so where she overheard him. Of course, the consequence of that mean attitude is that she doesn't consider him to be her dad. He created this situation. Now he is continuing to be immature and cruel by punishing you for stating the reality of the situation. I think you need to talk to him, and because of his immature attitude, you should probably do it in the presence of a mediator, like a family therapist, if you can afford one. If you can't afford one, I would show him this. He will hurt his relationship with you if he doesn't man up and take responsibility. He could have been doing his best to repair the damage his cruel comment made, but didn't bother. So of course Sarah assumes nothing has changed. He is not the wronged person here. She is. I agree with you, commenter. And again, I hate to use the term man up. Hate it. But it makes sense here because the worst thing that he did was not the statement that he made. Yes, that was a critical failure. It was a huge misstep. I don't think he really feels that way, but he never apologized. The biggest up he made was never even attempting to apologize. He tried to explain. He tried to justify. He never apologized. And the biggest takeaway from this comment that I get is that her only father figure, the only father figure that she's ever known, said this shit, which is dumb. Like, come on. You have to think about the impact of your words on people. You just have to. You cannot say something like this. You meant bio, and it doesn't even matter. Like, you shouldn't be excluding her from this anyway. But the fact that you never, ever attempted to even think about apologizing, you try to give an explanation, and then you got butthurt. And yes, I don't think you should be told how to feel. I think OP, what she meant was you shouldn't act out because of this. You shouldn't act outwardly angry toward people other than yourself. The only person you have to be mad at right now is yourself for saying what you said and then never walking it back, never apologizing, never trying to mend this fence, only chopping it up more. And then you just want to sit and stew in it. That's his choice. He's the only one that can repair the damage that he did. And if he's choosing not to, it will remain damaged. His only action now is to do damage to your relationship too? What is he, just like thinking his damage is inevitable here? That's it? Checking in here. Pasted feedback from daughter. Oh my. Hello here. Candy Thunder. Jumping in producer role here and pasting in a comment from daughter. Here it is. Comment from daughter. Hi guys, I'm Sarah. This is not my Reddit account, it's my cousin's, bio father's side. I apologize for any grammar mistakes and spelling errors. My cousin sent me this post while my husband and I were packing some stuff for our honeymoon earlier, and she thought it was my mom. My cousin is one of my go-to people, so she knows every single drama in my life. We are really tight. I was skeptical at first since I would have never thought of my mother using Reddit. It's just too random. Until I read the overheard part of the post. It just brought back very good memories. On top of that, I noticed the fake names used are based on the first letter of our real names. It gave me the confirmation that this is my mom. I just want to say that I don't appreciate that some of you are calling my mom an asshole. But also, I don't think it's your fault since mom left out a lot of details. After I left for college in the States, a lot of things happened. My cousin, the owner of this account, was the one filling me up with updates. So Mom and Robert had a huge fight regarding me, plus Robert always came home late and drunk from the cockpit. The twins, well, they were shielded from the drama because they were children. They kind of separated for like a year. My mom went to live with her parents. I was always in contact with mom, and she always asked for my whereabouts. You know, normal mom stuff. She also kind of filled me in about her separation from Robert. I actually felt guilty because I knew it was because of me. Their biggest fight was when Uncle Greg, I'll be using the fake names mom used to not add confusion, confronted Robert about the incident because when I arrived at my university dorm, I called him sobbing and told him about everything. Uncle Greg is the typical cool single uncle. He's the funkle. And has always been protective of us cousins. So when he learned about it, he went full Papa Bear mode for me. Robert was kind of mad that he was getting into our business. Mom told Robert that Uncle Greg, actually my cousins and I call him Dada because he's really like our second parent, also has a say in this family because he's family. But Robert wasn't happy about it. So yeah, that insinuated a big argument that almost led Robert and Uncle Greg to have a fist fight. They were almost driven to fisticuffs. They were already throwing unkind words at each other and everyone was just emotional. When I learned about what happened, like I mentioned, I felt guilty and bad. So I sent Robert an email since he doesn't use Messenger. In the email, I told him that he should apologize to my mom and make things right for the twins. I did not receive any response from him, but eventually he and mom made up after a year. I was quite happy because I didn't really want to ruin my mom's marriage. I love my mom so much and I'd do anything for her. You might be wondering why mom did not initiate divorce. Well, first of all, divorce is still illegal in my country. What country is this? Second, annulment is extremely expensive, and even if we were kind of well off, my mom's a physical therapist and a teacher at a university, while Robert used to be a public accountant up until I was 16 and owns a commercial space. Their pockets would have hurt, and an annulment takes a lot of time to process. Today, I reached out to them and I told them that I wanted a proper conversation because this has been long overdue. I think we all need some closure. I do want to note that I have moved on, but forgive? I don't think so. It pisses me off that Robert thinks I can just move on, forgive, and forget. It's hard to think that this was the man I used to call Papa. What's even more sad is that I still see him as my Papa. The pain I felt that day, and when I started calling him by his first name, I even wanted to major in accountancy because of him. He was my role model. There were a lot of moments where I just wanted to go back to that day and pretend I didn't hear anything and let it slide. Then maybe I'd still call him Papa. But I would be an idiot for thinking that because no matter what, the damage was already done. So yeah, I am contemplating if I would update you guys on our talk tomorrow. I've texted my mom not to look over the comments here because some of you are just brutal. Sorry, I just don't want my mom to feel bad. P.S. I just want to add that both my mom and Robert paid for my college tuitions. I did not get any loans or anything. Student loans are uncommon in our country. Parents are always the ones paying. I'm actually grateful that Robert helped me pay, but that still doesn't remove the pain. My husband has been really patient and supportive. Little trivia, we were classmates in high school. I was the talkative girl in class, you know, the social butterfly, and he was one of those goofballs, and we actually fought a lot back then. And we eventually developed feelings for each other throughout the freshman year. We were surprised that we went to the university. We were both catching up on each other's lives, and yeah, the rest was history. What is it that prevents someone from being able to own their bullshit? I don't understand when someone's goal does not align with their actions. His goal has to be to repair this. His goal has to be to have a happy life, to have a happy family, to have a healthy relationship with everybody. So why is everything that he's doing driving in the exact opposite direction of this? I do not understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. If you want these things, why? I'm bringing the Winston why back for this one, guys. Why is he just running this into the ground? Why is this like self-sabotage at this point? Yes, it was a stupid thing to say. And guess what? If when he found out that she heard that, That's what he said. He's like, oh my God, that was a terrible thing to say. I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant at all. Let me make it up to you. Squashed right then. Happy life. Great relationship. You're walking her down the aisle. Instead, he somehow turned himself into a victim of the situation here for not being able to walk her down the aisle, and is sulking about it to the point where he's ruining his marriage. And he's going to end up ruining his relationship with his kids over this too, because it's just, he's on a burning bridges era. It's his burning bridges era. That's where he's at. He's just, I don't know, seeking isolation or self-sabotaging or something. I don't know. But he definitely gets the Brozo Award for not just apologizing, and for letting this escalate to where it's gotten to and continuing the damage instead of just owning it and repairing things is ridiculous. Now, OP was the one asking the question here, and she says, am I the astronaut for telling my husband he shouldn't be upset when my daughter said that her uncle would be the one to walk her down the aisle on her wedding day? Technically, I'm going with a 4 here because I don't think you shouldn't do. The thing that he shouldn't do is not feel. The thing that he shouldn't do is bitch and be pissy about it. He can feel whatever he needs to feel, but obviously he's not processing these feelings well. He needs some help there. He needs some help in processing, but he has to want to need the help. He has to want the help to get the help. He doesn't want it right now. He just wants to stew and somehow thinks he's a martyr, but not. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you, and this is a Best of Redditor update. That's right, grab your popcorn, find somewhere comfy, and tell everyone around you to shut the f*** up because it's about to get spicy. It's completely unplanned. Title of this story is, Am I the astronaut for wanting to dump my fiancée after she injured herself while I was away? Seriously, injuring yourself just gives me the ick. Originally posted July 10th, 2024. While I, 30 male, was away on business, my fiancée, 32 female, decided to go out without telling me. We spoke in the afternoon. I was on my way to the airport ahead of an 8-hour flight, which was arriving at 5 a.m. Her friend had just come back from out of state, and she was planning on taking her out to dinner. Once I landed, I didn't want to wake her as she normally gets up around 7. I got home, and she wasn't there. Her car was parked outside, but she wasn't in bed. For a moment, I panicked and thought she had gone to surprise me at the airport, but somehow I missed her. But her car was outside. I call her and her phone rang to voicemail. I called 10 more times while I shower and change. At first, I wasn't too worried, thinking maybe she went for a run, but the scenarios running through my head were getting darker. We have our phones on our iCloud account in case we lose them, so I bring it up to find her location. Her iPhone was at a hospital. My heart sank. I start heading to the hospital. All her family live out of state, so there's no one to call. The hospital is 10 minutes away. I speed, run red lights, park right in front of the emergency department door, and go in like a maniac, demanding the triage staff to tell me where she is. They take me to her room. She's asleep in bed, but I can immediately see she's hurt. Her lip is swollen, and she looks like she's been beaten up. Bruises on her face, splint thing on her nose. My panic and worry morph into rage, and I demand to know what has happened and who did this to her. I was informed that she arrived in an ambulance at 2 a.m., having drunkenly stumbled and face-planted onto the curb while leaving a bar. She had a broken nose, chipped tooth, and other minor abrasions and scratches, but she was going to be fine. This made absolutely no sense. I seriously feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone. I don't drink, never have, and she hasn't touched alcohol since college, basically. I don't know what's happening at this point. She's tried to offer up some kind of explanation about her friend pressured her to have wine while they were at dinner, and then somehow they ended up in a bar. She apparently has no recollection and teleported there. I've been giving her the silent treatment, and it's 8 p.m. She has been crying and wanting some sort of consolement or reassurance, but I genuinely think I'm done. This whole thing just came out of left field, and I'm not handling it well at all. We've been living together since we got engaged, and it would be a pretty clean split. Her parents own the house, so I can basically just take my stuff and go, I guess. I really don't know what to do. We've been together a year and a half, and I feel like we could get past this, but it's like the whole ordeal and the emotional roller coaster have sapped away the love I felt for her. Anyway, sorry for the novel, but will I be the astronaut if I dump her? Added comments. Commenter here, you're the asshole. This is kind of a big overreaction to someone going out to drink and getting hurt. Seems like you're just looking for an out to the relationship, and this is the most convenient way. OP, she's definitely not cheating or sneaking around like some people seem to think. We also have great insurance, so the medical bills are no issue. It's definitely the first time anything like this has happened. She is super reasonable and mature, which is one of the things that has made us so compatible. She's always so dignified and composed, which is one of the things I love most about her. Seeing her like this and learning about how it happened has just kind of shattered the image that I had of her in my mind. She is super embarrassed about it, which doesn't really help. No, you are not helping. OP replied to this comment to another Redditor. OP, I get it, I'm the asshole. Enough people mentioned that she was roofied, so we went and got a drug panel done, and it came back clean. She just had too much to drink. Just to clarify, since a lot of you said I'm controlling or whatever, I'm really not. She's free to go out with or without telling me. It's just she normally always tells me her plans exactly, which is why this one was so abnormal. Also, I never said I had a problem with her drinking. She's a grown woman and she can do whatever she wants. It's just that she never drinks, which is why this was so shocking. She has a concussion, which we're blaming for the trouble remembering. I don't think she was blackout drunk, and neither does she. I'm not trying to defend my initial reaction, but I have a very stressful job, which has taken its toll on my mental health for sure, and I make an effort to eliminate any sort of non-work related stress as a matter of necessity. Coming back to my wife in the hospital seriously injured was absolutely devastating, and I didn't react well. My first thoughts were that she was attacked by someone, which infuriated me and made me want to go find whoever it was. Once I realized there was nobody to blame for this except her, some of those negative emotions were directed towards her. I'm not saying it's right, but I can't control how I feel. Let me also be clear about one thing. I was not ignoring her. I just really didn't know what to say and wanted to let her rest. I was processing the situation, and I knew if I didn't control what I had to say, I might say something that blamed her or was hurtful or something along those lines, which is why I decided to hold my tongue until I sorted my feelings. Yes, I know I'm the asshole. I need a drink of water before I say what I have to say about this jabroni. So before we get into the update here, just want to make sure I have this right, OP. So she's always so dignified and rock solid and unshakable. And that's why you're so compatible, because any non-work related stress is not allowed in your life. Let me also clarify that you are engaged to this woman, as in intending to marry this woman, as in intending to speak the words for better or worse to this woman and attach yourself to her for the rest of your life. Those are all the facts, correct? Those are facts. I understand feeling like it is my personal responsibility to be a protector for the safety of my family. I feel that, right? And maybe it's some kind of pre-marriage, pre-family, like you want to protect your partner, so he was mad that he couldn't be there. He was mad that he couldn't protect her. I understand that feeling, but that's a self feeling. That's an angry at yourself kind of feeling. He is mad at her for not communicating what she was doing so he knew what was going on. And I understand being in the dark. She's in the dark right now too, because she doesn't remember any of this stuff. But it was a accident. She had an accident. Watch, you could go hunt down some footage, and it's probably a curb that was broken or too high or something. There was some kind of obstruction. What if somebody stuck out a broom handle as she walked by, and that's how this happened? Are you still mad at her? It was an accident. Your anger is misplaced here, but it's a bigger issue for me. It's a bigger issue for me because you're not allowing her to be human. When you marry someone, you are marrying the most human side of them. She's gonna poop. It happens. She's gonna kick you out of the house whenever she does it, but it happens, okay? She's gonna fall. She's gonna get hurt. She's gonna say stupid things. She's gonna have bad breath sometimes in the morning. She's human, man. You don't want a partner in life, though. You want someone to fill a role like a hired actress that is not allowed to introduce any stress into your life. My man, if you are not allowing any non-work related stress in your life, you do not need to be getting married. I will tell you this right now. You don't. Stay single. Because you're human too. And you're going to have your own bullshit. But if you're the only one that's allowed to have any kind of bullshit in this relationship, it's not a relationship. You have to be willing to carry other people's stress. You have to be willing to carry other people's drama, other people's pain. You have to be willing to take this whole person, including whatever bullshit they may go through for their entire life. That's what you are marrying. You are not marrying the unshakable statue of your wife that you can come home to and she doesn't produce any more stress in your life. That's not what you're marrying. I understand you feeling upset. I think the way that you have let this feeling beam out of you in word vomit directed at her, which, by the way, I also understand holding your tongue and trying to process what you're going to say rather than just blurting whatever it is you're going to say. I respect that. But you're acting pissed off at her, even though you don't know what to say, and I understand that. You're acting pissed off at her in the hospital while she's sitting in a hospital bed with a nose splint on, bandages on, like on an IV drip, trying to remember what the happened, and the only person that's there to support her is pissed at her and won't really talk to her. If you were in this position, sir, if you happen to be in this position, and this is how the person who said they wanted to love and marry you and care for you for better or worse forever for the rest of your life, if this is how that person treated you, how would you feel about that person afterward? You have chosen to end your relationship. You have chosen to end your engagement. I don't think you're going to get the chance to call this thing off, man. I think she's going to beat you to it here, man. I don't think you're ready for a relationship. That's the bottom line. You're not. You're not ready. You're not ready. Here's the update by OP in the comments. She broke off the engagement. She broke off the engagement. We had a long talk, and apparently I've been cold and unsupportive. Apparently. I disagree, but whatever. And she feels betrayed by my attitude? ? She thinks my expectations are unrealistic and that she's a human, not a robot. She said she needs someone who can let her fail, and I am not that person. No more words are needed. Riddle me this. How did she say in like 10 words what took me like 5 minutes to communicate? Apparently I'm unsupportive. I disagree, but whatever. She feels betrayed by my attitude? ? Dude. All right. This next one is oh, wait. Candy Thunder, this next headline that you got here, is this the her side? Oh, wait. This is him too? Okay, so that was a mini update to the last story. We have another update to this that is related. Candy Thunder said, just read it and it will make sense. Okay, or just read it and it will make sense. Got it. Okay, we have another update for this one. The title of this update is, Will I be the astronaut if I don't return the expensive watch my ex-fiance's father gave me? July 13th, 2024. We broke up after being engaged for 6 months. One night when we were at her parents' place, her father gave it to me as a gift. It was shortly after we got engaged, and it wasn't my birthday or anything like that. There was no occasion. He just gave it to me and said, I want you to have this. He took it off his wrist. I'm unlikely to ever see him again as he lives in California and I live in New York. He hasn't asked for it back, nor has my ex. I doubt she has any clue what it's worth, but I've had it appraised and it's worth over $70,000. Will I be the astronaut if I keep the watch and don't say anything? You had it appraised? Isn't an appraisal normally an indication of an intent to sell? He is the kind of guy who would be like, I just want to know how much I'm wearing, you know? I just want to know what it's worth. On your wrist. Okay, there's added comments to this. I thought it went on quite a bit longer. Here's the added comments onto this. Commenter says, yes, you would be the asshole if you keep the watch without discussing it with your ex-fiance or her father. While the watch was given to you as a gift, its significant value in the circumstances of your breakup suggests that there might be emotional and familial attachments involved. Keeping such a valuable item without at least offering to return it could be seen as disrespectful or opportunistic, especially considering the relationship dynamics and the fact that it was a gift from her father. It's best to communicate openly and transparently about it to avoid any misunderstandings or hurt feelings. Commenter, given the reason that you are now single, I don't know how you would be able to keep it without feeling like a total douchebag. Commenter, just read your previous post, so yeah, you will be the asshole if you keep it. Give it back to them. He did it from the same account so people could go read the story and be like, oh, it's this guy. It's this guy. Also, if you have something that is worth that much money, there's probably some kind of paper trail attached to it as well. There's some kind of authenticity. It may be titled. Shit, I don't know. I've never had that kind of ice. I got my G-Shock watch on. It's got Bluetooth. Is the same guy. The same guy who got dumped but doesn't want to give up the $70K watch. That might have been one of the only reasons that he hadn't dubbed her yet. Is because he had that drip. Yes, this guy, Ascon 1, send him there. He's the worst. He's the worst, and also feels like somebody who might become a bombshell on Love Island. We might see this guy on Love Island. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Candy Thunder and I finally took the dive, and we're 2-3 episodes into Love Island now, and I'm both invested and just disgusted. So, I mean, it now could be, if there's no paper trail behind it and it's worth what it's worth, it would be really difficult or be really easy for them to say he stole it. Then what? No paperwork behind it? No paperwork? Candy Thunder says, and it was her parents' house that they were living in, so it could definitely be money. Oof. Yeah. But he was, I don't know. I guess that does connect it and make a lot more sense if he's trying to marry into money and he got the ick from her being human at all. That makes sense. That tracks. Handing this guy $70K from his own wrist was nothing for him. It was no big deal, which is wild to think about. But man, yes, you'd still be the asshole and a brozo and a douche canoe and all the things. Lisa, we're assuming that he's being honest about it being a gift. Sure. But all they have to do is say they want it back. That's it. That's pretty wild. Yeah, that's pretty wild. Hello there, this is Dusty Thunder with another Reddit story for you. This one is a little bit special because it's a his side, her side from the Am I Overreacting subreddit. This is the his side, her side story title, Am I Overreacting for Getting Upset When My Wife Had Another Man in the Delivery Room? Last month, my 28 male wife, 25 female, called me in a frenzy, telling me that her water broke and that she was going into labor. This was incredibly shocking to both of us because she was still early on in the pregnancy. The problem with this is that I was already on the road about 30 minutes away tending to my mother, who had just called to tell me that she was in an accident. Not a significant one, but it still shook her up. I told my wife to call an ambulance because I would not be turning around to drive her to the hospital and witness her birth. She yelled, cursed, cried, and screamed at me through the phone while I tried to calm her by telling her to call my sister if she didn't want to call an ambulance, since my sister only lives 20 to 25 minutes away. What? Hold on. Time out. I don't think the words I have read on this page were conveyed with the proper gravity for the situation. So I will reread it with the proper gravity for the situation. I told my wife to call an ambulance because I would not be the one turning around to drive her to the hospital and witness her birth. We don't even really have to read any more of the story. Let's go ahead and do this. What the bro? There's no other way to go now. After this, she went silent and hung up, and I didn't hear from her for about 1 hour and a half. I checked my phone for the first time since getting to my mother. My sister sent me a video of my wife actively giving birth while holding her male friend's hand, the way women squeeze their husband's hands for comfort during labor. My sister immediately followed up the video with the text that said, "When are you going to get here?" I ignored this text and asked her if she's the one who drove my wife to the hospital, and she responded, "No." I asked her who did, and she informed me that it was my wife's male friend who lives only 10 minutes away. I ended up just asking my sister for the full story while I drove my mother back to her home since everything was sorted with the accident. Long story short, instead of calling my sister or an ambulance, my wife called her male friend that I've always disliked but never informed my wife. I told my sister to get on FaceTime with me, but not to make it obvious to anyone else in the delivery room, and I would stay silent on the other end. During the call, I saw my wife's friend rubbing her back, wiping her tears, comforting her when she screamed and cried, etc. I couldn't bear the sight, and I ended the FaceTime and told my sister to inform my wife that I would be at the hospital the next day after work whenever she got out of labor. So you decided right then you weren't even going? You're like the I'm only taking my real kids guy. You're just hell-bent on destruction at this point. What are you doing? My sister called almost 2 hours later to tell me she left the hospital and that my wife would be staying the night. Well, yeah. The next day around 3 to 4 p.m., when I went over to the hospital to see my wife and newborn son, she was not trying to hide her anger and saltiness from anyone in the room. That included mostly my family and some of hers. When I asked her why she was acting this way, she rolled her eyes and told me to leave her the alone in front of everyone. Later, when I tried to hold my son, she snatched him from my hands. In this hospital, visiting hours ended at 8, but all the guests, excluding me, left by 6. When we were left alone, I finally got the chance to have a conversation with her about why she's being so salty on a memorable day that should have been filled with love and joy. She responded by getting angry and mumbling something about my audacity to miss her birth and be surprised that she's angry. I'm not proud of this, but in response, I called her a cheater for inviting another man into the delivery room in place of her husband. This spiraled into a short, full-blown argument between us that eventually ended with a NICU nurse coming back with a baby. How did his ass not get kicked out of this room by now? It's been a month since then, and my wife only refused to our son as her son, her baby, etc. I've tried to get closer to her by sitting down and trying to have a deep conversation about our family's future, and she flat out told me that she was never having another child with me after what happened, which deeply hurt me. Last week, I heard my wife on the phone talking about who would be godfathers and mothers to our son. She told whoever was on the other end of that she would be choosing the male friend as godfather because he was there for me when OP couldn't care less. This post is all over the place, but let me know if I overreacted in the argument when I saw her in the delivery room after she gave birth, or if anyone knows how to fix my marriage and family. Edit. No, this is not rage bait. I genuinely need advice. Sorry if the wording made it seem that way. I also didn't know the accident was minor until I arrived, and everyone suggesting we get a divorce doesn't know the meaning and dedication of marriage and family. No, sir! You do not know the meaning of dedication and marriage and family. You, sir, have chosen not to have one. The audacity to make that statement after the bullshit you just pulled. What the? If you have any questions, please message me if you want me to answer. Okay, let's get to the her side. I can't wait. Girl. I hope she's just like, yeah, this guy's the biggest piece of shit on the planet and I'm leaving him. Also, it sounds like he left when the baby came back. He said he wasn't going to the hospital to witness her birth. See some consistency here, dude? Her birth, her child. She's been referring to him as her child now because you said it was her birth. You already... her side. Update for Am I Overreacting for getting upset at my wife for having another man in the delivery room? I'm the wife from that post. A friend found it and sent it to me. Still don't get why he didn't post it on a burner account. Anyway, I decided to make an account to respond, clear some things up, and tell my side of the story as briefly as I can. Yes, I did call my husband to tell him that my water broke, and he did tell me that he wouldn't make it and to call an ambulance or his sister, who has called me a slur to my face before, so I don't know why he thought that would be a good idea. I did not call his sister because we don't get along, and I have a friend that lives closer to us. He ends up driving me to the hospital, and his sister pulls into the lot almost right after us. Don't know how she knew I was going, so now I'm in pain, scared, upset at my husband, and have someone I don't like with me during my most vulnerable moments. I was holding my male friend's hand because why wouldn't I be? Now, it was very obvious that sister-in-law was recording me in some way because she was basically isolating herself from everyone else in the room with her phone to her chest and pointed at me. Wait. Just super sneaky, sis. Way to go. I didn't think that she was on FaceTime with anyone. I just thought she was filming me, which is equally as weird as I'm not sure why I brushed it off or didn't ask about it when I was more stable. My husband did in fact show up the next day around 4 p.m. and tried to act like nothing happened, and I was very moody and rude to him, which was probably very immature of me. This later broke out into an argument after everyone left where he called me a cheater, and I also said some very nasty things. I have been isolating me and my son from him as much as I can and trying to be less dependent on him in some aspects. The reason for this is because I feel like I can't trust him to keep my son safe or change his diaper or pour my breast milk into a bottle and feed him or burp him or basically do anything for my son at all. Notice the my's there, not ours. It is true that my son and I are financially dependent on my husband, like he has stated before, and because of this fact, I cannot divorce him, not now at least, because I do not have any support system or family that lives near us to help me and my son. I am still in school. I know staying for the kids isn't healthy, but my family has recommended that I stay for the sake of my schooling and my son's happiness. My husband has stated many times that he apologized, but these, quote, apologies were just along the lines of, "I'm sorry, will you stop being angry now?" That's a brozo apology. Like that's like the brozo apology. "I'm sorry, will you stop being angry now? I'm sorry, are we okay now?" No, I am not sleeping with my male friend. We've been friends since second grade, and there's never been anything romantic or sexual between us. Please don't mind my spelling or grammar. English is not my first language, nor am I from an English-speaking country, and this was also rushed. Feel free to ask any questions because I tend to leave details out. This whole thing feels as unreal as it sounds, LOL. Also, a nurse never came back with the baby after the argument. That's not even how it works. So he ended up just leaving. 4 p.m. the next day. This guy is the worst. It's the worst. It's not, this is more than being an AskCon one. This is more than being a brozo. Like the obvious play, because it's your baby and it's your wife birthing that baby early, which is like red flags, alert, something's not right. It's more dangerous now. Immediately turn the car around and call your sister to take over getting to your mom. That is the play that every dad on this planet would make, save you, sir, who now, just because I said I wasn't going to be there doesn't mean you could have someone else there. When I said that I wasn't going to be there, it meant that you were going to be sitting there alone, so that you would appreciate me more when I did show up. But you had your male friend, Chad, there, and he was rubbing your back, and you were holding his hand, and it sure looked like you guys were a married couple, and that hurt me. Should have turned the car around, you jabroni. You did all of this to yourself, and all the friend did was show up and be supportive. He did the basic minimum thing that another human would do. This was your wife, and you chose not to do those things. You no longer have a say. You will soon no longer have a family. I hope you can surgically remove your head from your own ass, go back to the hospital, ask them to deliver that, because you're going to need it to be any kind of dad to this kid. The only happy ending from the story at all could be that you guys separate, you eventually figure out how big of a tool bag you are, fix it, and then you can have a decent relationship with your kid. That is the best I can hope for you, you dumbass. Hey there, it is Dusty Thunder with yet another Reddit story for you. This one from AITAH is titled, "Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Wear the Wedding Dress My Sister-in-Law Gave to Me as a Wedding Gift?" With an update. I, female 27, met my fiancé Jacob, male 31, when I was 21. We've been together for 6 years and engaged for almost a year out of those. My mother's wedding dress has been passed down for generations, and I remember being a little girl dreaming of walking down the aisle in it. We have recently been wedding planning, and we were invited to a dinner hosted by my fiancé's family that was on Sunday. When we arrived, we greeted everyone and sat at the table to eat. Sister-in-law stood up and tapped her spoon against her glass and said that she had to make a toast. She then said she would be right back before going into another room and returning with a large plastic bag. Everyone seemed to be excited, but I just felt confused. I awkwardly smiled as I asked sister-in-law what's in the bag. "What's in the bag? What's in the bag? What's in the bag?" She opened it up to reveal her wedding dress from her wedding, which was 2 years ago. Everyone began clapping, and sister-in-law announced that this was her official wedding gift to us, and she wanted me to wear her dress at the wedding. I tried to smile, but I guess I didn't do a good job of hiding my disappointment, and everyone began asking me what was wrong. I tried to explain how I wanted to wear my mother's dress and that it was nothing personal, but that I refused to wear my sister-in-law's dress. My sister-in-law began crying as my in-laws began tearing into me and comforting her. I just burst into tears and ran outside. My fiancé didn't even come after me, and after crying my eyes out on the steps for what felt like hours, he finally came outside and yelled at me to get in the car. "The you did what? What? It's giving golden child, right? It's like his sister-in-law has to be the golden child. What No. No way. No way people are this shitty. I mean, yeah, yes way. Yeah. Shit. I was so confused, but I got into the car just to hear him berate me on how I made such a big scene and embarrassed him in front of his family. He sounded so mad, and he even said that he couldn't believe he chose to marry such a bitchy cunt. His exact words. Be doing a couple button presses here. Just bear with me. Bear with me while we get fiancé on our favorite rocket ship to and through the sky to Ascon 1. My fiancé also said how sister-in-law was just trying to be nice and that her dress was more modern compared to my mother's dress, which looked like an old rag. Also, his exact words. I tried to tell him how much my mother's wedding dress meant to me because I promised her that I would wear it. I felt like my fiancé's family planned this and put me on the spot thinking I wouldn't stand up for myself and just agree to wear sister-in-law's dress. I don't think I did anything wrong, but a part of me thinks I should have just gone along with it and then told sister-in-law in private that I wouldn't be wearing the dress. Am I the astronaut? There's an update. Before we get into that update, I can't imagine a scenario or a culture or any room in the world where this is an acceptable gift to someone that you think you've got the gall, the audacity to think that you get to make the decision about what dress someone else is going to wear at their wedding. I give zero shits. I give shits not. If this is like $1 billion dress, I don't care. If I don't care what it is. I don't care what the sentimental part about it is. You don't get to choose what dress another bride wears. Also, this is all is giving like OP's fiance acts like he's rescued her. It's like, yes, it's a much nicer dress. It's more modern. Yeah. How dare you? How dare you? Be such a bitchy cunt and embarrass me in front of my family. How dare you? This guy. That's it. End of story. Run. Return. Well, you don't have to return a dress. You get to hang on to your mother's dress. You know what? Thank goodness sister-in-law pulled this shit because you got to see just how big of an ass bag this guy really is. And it saved you from walking down the aisle in your mother's dress and wasting it on that opportunity. She saved you from wasting it. So it was unintentional. She's an ass bag for doing what she did and thinking she has that kind of power over other people's lives. He's an absolute tool bag. This family is run away from it and save that wedding dress, your mother's wedding dress, for the right person and the right wedding, right? Do that. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You will never have to see sister-in-law again. You'll never have to see your fiance again. Just go. This is not your path. And that's fine. It sucks, but it's fine. Because that means there's something better out there for you. Don't you dare give into this bullshit. And I don't think you will, because you stood up for yourself. There is an update. Let's dive into it. Update. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone in the comments for supporting me and all the private messages reaching out. I haven't gotten to all of them, but I will try whenever I can. I really didn't expect so many people to see my post, but I just want to make it clear how grateful I am. If you haven't seen my original post, you can check my profile. I know the majority of you told me to leave him, and it took some time to think on it, but I know I can't leave without a proper conversation. At the end of the day, I spent 6 years with this man, and this behavior was honestly out of the ordinary. It doesn't matter. Sunk cost fallacy cannot keep you in this relationship, madam. I agree with a lot of the comments saying that his family was influencing him because he used to be so caring and kind, but ever since the wedding planning began, he changed. Since the dinner on Sunday, he hasn't been talking to me at all and always leaves the room whenever I come in. His honestly immature behavior and all of your comments have made me rethink my whole relationship. I did end up making him sit down with me a few hours ago to talk about things and have an adult conversation. He was very dismissive and was just scrolling on his phone for the majority of the time. Really? Hey, I need to talk about our marriage and the rest of our lives. It's pretty important shit. Okay. He's scrolling for a new fiancé. Someone will be more obedient. I tried to explain how I felt put on the spot at dinner and how his reaction and the fact that he didn't come after me or comfort me post the dinner was so hurtful and disrespectful. All he had to say was response that I was being selfish and that my sister-in-law was trying to help and I had just embarrassed her in front of everyone. The conversation honestly went nowhere, and I felt really shitty and lost. Around an hour ago, he came up to me and apologized, saying that he was sorry and that he understood how I was feeling. I asked what we would do about the dress, and he told me that he had talked to his sister-in-law and she had agreed to let me wear my mother's dress during the reception, but I would wear her dress during the main ceremony. What? Hold on. They don't decide. She doesn't decide. Why? She doesn't get a say. She doesn't get a vote. OP. Oh, why are you still talking to this guy? And he came in, he's like, I understand. Because he had these marching orders now that came from the family. My sister said, she'll let you wear your mother's dress at the reception, but you are going to wear her dress at the wedding. Whose wedding is this? Is everyone just employed by sister? Is that how this works? Like, what the? Witness protection may be in order. I admit I kind of lost it because he said it as if I needed permission to wear my wedding dress on my wedding day. I haven't felt so disrespected in my life. I've just been sitting inside our bedroom and I'm pretty sure things are over after this. Edit, I will admit my mother's dress is slightly old-fashioned, but I had talked to him before we got engaged about how it was my dream to wear it, which he had no problems with. The fact that he didn't respect how sentimental it was to me is what hurt. Also, during our second conversation, he kept bringing up how his family was paying for a majority of the wedding, which yes, they were paying for about 75% of it, but I tried to remind him that it was my wedding too. Paying for it means you get a say, but you don't get a vote. You get an ability to create recommendations. You don't get control. Edit 2. Yes, I'm leaving him for sure now. I really don't appreciate the comments calling me bad names for staying. I never intended to stay. And the only reason I thought we needed a conversation was because this behavior was recent and I wanted to understand what was going on. Understandable. I haven't yet told him that it was over officially, though it should be obvious. Yet mainly because I'm scared he might do something violent, as many comments said. I need a few days to figure out things and I'm going to tell my brother to pick me up so I can stay there for a few days. I'm logging off for now, but I'll update if anything happens. No further updates. Let's hope she's safe because this family be cray-cray. This family is not the family that you want to be a part of. It feels like a Jordan Peele movie. And now you have to escape. OP, you have to escape. Like, no shit. Witness protection may be in order. You may have to change your name. You may have to get away. But now that they know they can't control you, maybe they would rather excommunicate you anyway. Let's hope that's the case. Let's hope they're done with you because it's obvious that you can't be controlled. Let's hope they don't try to claw you back and drug you into this whole thing. Like, I don't understand how people this entitled, the family is this entitled. Like, this stress started whenever wedding planning started. So it's whenever the family got involved with things, he got sucked right back in to his role in the family, which apparently is to bend over for his sister, who gets to call the shots on his entire life as well. But he's okay with it because he, I guess, decided that he has to be okay with it. You don't have to be. You still have a choice. And that choice should be run. And run fast. And run hard. Hey there, it's Dusty Thunder once again with another Reddit story for you. This one from AITAH is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Not Breaking Up with My Girlfriend Back When I Found Out That She Cheated on Me? All right, I have been with my girlfriend for about 6 years now. 5 years ago, she cheated on me. I found out, but I didn't tell her I knew. If I'm being honest, I had very low self-esteem then, and I thought she was the best I could do. I threw myself into my work, and I have improved my position at my employer. I have an opportunity now to move to a different location, and I kind of want a fresh start. I told my now ex that I'm accepting a job promotion and moving. She said she wasn't going to move away from her friends and family unless we had a more defined future. I said I understood, and that I accepted that she was not going to come with me. She asked how long the job was for, and I said it was permanent. She freaked out and said that I had wasted 6 years of her life planning a future with me. I mentioned that it was really not 6 years since she cheated on me at her sister's bachelorette party. She asked me when I found out, and I told her. 2 of her friends told me about it and showed me pictures. I think they thought we talked about it and that I had forgiven her. I never brought it up after I found out. I got tested and I was much more careful with our use of condoms, but after I got over the shock of it, I just considered her a roommate I slept with. It was easier to stay with her than to break up and find someone new. Holy shit. She is calling me all kinds of names and trying to get people on her side. I really don't care. I'm moving across the country. I want an outside opinion, though. Was I an asshole? I will state that I've paid 75% of all of our bills for the last 5 years, and I paid for vacations and gifts. I did fully treat her as a girlfriend. She went nuts after I left. I'm glad to be a few states away from her. The ones who said it wasn't a one-time thing might be right. She spent the last month swinging between begging me to forgive her and calling me a worthless piece of shit. At the end, she said she was glad she hadn't been faithful, that she hooked up with guys whenever I went out of town for work. Then she said she didn't mean it and that she was lying to try to hurt me. Since I don't know what to believe, I'm just going to assume the worst is the truth. I'm liking this fresh start far away from that drama. Thank you all for the advice. What? Candy Thunder left us some notes. Thank goodness, because I'm here. This is where I'm at. What? Candy Thunder says, this might be the biggest ESH I have ever seen. She is a cheater and he is insecure and decided to string her along for 5 years as some type of revenge. The whole thing is messed up and they're both toxic to each other. Hope they both enjoy their couples trip to ASCON 1. It was booked pre-breakup. That's good. I like this. They both get to fly all the way to ASCON 1. ESH is indeed correct. ESH is everyone sucks here. And we'll give the biggest ESH here. There it is. See, it's taken them all the way to ASCON 1. So they're shitty ASCON 1 together. And you know what? I think I want to say that we had this conversation recently. It wasn't about this story. It was about some kind of situation, though. And Candy Thunder and I were talking about how people can end up in situations where it's a toxic couple, a toxic relationship, right? Like two people independently, perfectly normal on their own accord and in other relationships, but they get into a toxic combination and their partner makes them the worst version of themselves. And it kind of feels like that's where OP settled in. At first, it started off as like, I don't think I can do any better than someone who cheats on me, but it wasn't the I deserve to be cheated on kind of thing. Sounds like he was talking about just purely in looks. He's like, yeah, she cheated on me once, but she's hot and I don't think I could pull hotter. So I'm going to stick with this so we can still have sex and I'll just treat her like a roommate. So it wasn't like it wasn't the whole I deserve to be cheated on. I deserve to be treated like shit. I'm going to let somebody control me and treat me like shit. It was an acknowledgement and then using it against her, which made him, I mean, his revenge lasted 5 years and then he just dropped her like she was nothing. Dropped her like, I don't even know. Like there was absolutely no feelings there ever at all. He's just like, I'm moving. You're not coming with me. And then who knows if she's being true. You think she's being truthful about what she said about how she was cheating on him every time she was gone? And then she came back and she was like, I didn't mean it. I'm just trying to hurt you. I'm sorry. Do you think she's really did or didn't? Ash says, nah, I see what and why he did as I'm currently in a similar situation where you're just sticking with somebody for convenience. No, 5 years. It happened 1 year in. It's been 5 years since then. So he's been keeping this up for 5 years. Here's the deal, though. I understand that they were having sex and that was the benefit, right? He plainly stated here that he stayed with her so they could have sex. And then it would just be he'd treat her like a roommate otherwise. Well, internally, but outwardly he treated her like a girlfriend, which kind of feels like bullshit to me. Either he's full of shit and he's putting on this act to justify the breakup and him moving away. So this is his like way of pre-coping, right? He's minimizing everything and detaching himself so that he won't hurt afterwards. This could absolutely be the case. He could love her. And this is just how he's dealing with it. Like instead of, he didn't think he was good enough for her to come with him. I mean, look, the most valuable resource we have is time, right? They both wasted each other's times. And if what she said is true, where she's been cheating on him continuously, then they've used each other for an equal amount of time, except she was also cheating and he wasn't. So, I mean, who's the bigger asshole? It doesn't matter. They're both assholes. They're a toxic combination. They shouldn't be together. But I also kind of smell bullshit with his story here. I kind of do. Maybe he cheated also? If he was cheating and if he had other options and he knew he had other options, if his story is true, it feels like he would have ended this sooner. The only reason he stayed in it is because he felt like he didn't have any other options. It's both ASCON ones. Everyone sucks here. Holy crap. Hey, Dusty Thunder here, and I wanted to thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed that content, and if you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and most importantly, share. Also, you can find swag and so much more at dusty-thunder.com, and you'll find even more content on all of our platforms. We're on TikTok, YouTube. We now have an official Facebook page that we'll be posting stories to as well. We have podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and so much more. You can see all of our content platforms on Linktree, which is linked in my bio. Engage with us wherever you're enjoying content and do your best to avoid the Askonauts today. Thanks again.